500 million years ago. The microcontinent was situated near the equator. The Western scientists called it Kazakhstania. The structure with almost full list of elements from the Mendeleev's table inside its depth. What secrets does Kazakhstan soil have? How rich is it? Natural resources are the history of our land for thousands of years.
Ust-Kamenogorsk was built upon the conflux of ancient rivers that are Irtysh and Elba. This is an administrative, industrial, and cultural center of East Kazakhstan region. It was founded in 1720 and got the official status of the city in 1939. The city is located in a river valley surrounded by mountain branches of southwestern Altai. The priority directions of the city economy are non-ferrous industry, engineering, metal industry, power industry, consumer industry, and food processing. Companies processing ferrous and non-ferrous metals, as well as the largest engineering and instrument-making plants, are located here in the city. But historically, they were non-ferrous enterprises to build the local economy. The city plants are the world's largest suppliers of lead, zinc, copper, gold, silver, cadmium, thallium, and tellurium. The Ust-Kamenogorsk metallurgical complex is one of the industrial giants of not only East Kazakhstan region, but the whole country as well. It includes zinc, lead, and copper production plants and refining facility. The history of its foundation dates back to the middle of the 20th century. It was well known that East Kazakhstan is rich with minerals and non-ferrous metals. And this fact played its role when the decision about the location of the plant was made. After the Second World War finished, equipment was brought here from Magdeburg, Germany.
После этого здесь началось строительство большого комплекса. Сначала это был только цинковый завод, строился. И сразу после войны это строительство началось, и
The authorities started to build a large complex here after that. Zinc plant was the first one, and right after the World War, they started construction works here. And in October 1947, the first zinc was produced in Ust-Kamenogorsk. At that time, the complex was called Lead and Zinc Plant. The construction of lead plant was started later with the help of Soviet specialists. With the help of the Soviet Union, the construction began after production of the first zinc. And since then, a large metallurgical complex was created in Ust-Kamenogorsk. It was expanded over the time to include new facilities. As I said, minerals and ores of East Kazakhstan are polymetallic and contain half of the elements of the Mendeleev's periodic table. Zinc became a basis of the production facility. Till the end of the 20th century, it had been expanding, and by the middle of the 90s, the complex had 2 zinc plants. Zinc. It is one of those metals that had been discovered long time ago, and still, it hasn't lost its importance due to unique properties. Moreover, the potential of this metal has not been fully studied yet. Physical and chemical properties of this element are the reason why it is used in a wide range of industries. It has also a great impact on the human health. The people knew what zinc is long before the modern era. It was an integral part of alloys used by ancient people in their everyday life. For example, Egyptians smelted copper and zinc to produce highly durable and oxidation-resistant material. The word zinc can be found in papers of physician Paracelsus, who lived in the 16th century. Almost during the same time, the Chinese started to use zinc for the production of coins. Later, during the Middle Ages, the Europeans also discovered zinc. Brass was one of the first and most famous alloys that had been used in Cyprus since the ancient times, and later in Germany and other countries. By the way, the history of the word zinc has several versions. According to one of them, the word is probably derived from the German Zinke, which meant tooth-like, pointed or jagged. Or maybe it originates from the Latin word zincum, which means white bloom. Yet another possibility is that the word is derived from the Persian word sang, meaning stone.
Цинк металлический является, в основном потребление его идет, конечно, как
Zinc is a metal, and it is used as metal protecting from corrosion.
сталь. То есть это большое потребление идет.
So it is widely used in car industry, as well as in production of car batteries. There are such batteries.
Есть такие батареи.
But the main point is protection from corrosion. Zinc is also used to cover roofs of our houses or to construct production facilities.
Или каких-то там производств.
This is how zinc is mainly used.
Основное потребление цинка такое.
The process of zinc production is rather complicated, and it consists of several stages. Firstly, zinc concentrate is brought to the plant from the refining facility. Then it is roasted in special roasters. And while being a gray mass before roasting, the concentrate turns red after being oxidized at high temperatures. Surprisingly, this technological process has its magic, which even metallurgists cannot deny themselves.
Вообще металлургия это само по себе интересное превращение.
Metallurgy brings really interesting transformations. During the process, the products turn from one state to another, and it is always very interesting.
Самое интересное смотреть на то, как приходит обогатительный фактор.
The most interesting thing is to watch how raw ores are supplied from the refining facility, and these materials were extracted in Kazakhstan. As I said, our refining facility in Zhiryanovsk, as well as Ritter region, where a refining facility is also located, are rich with the raw ores reserves.
И при подходе сырья мы видим, выражаясь простым языком,
And when these raw ores arrive, we see the soil, if speaking simply. Soil arrives in wagons, and it is always interesting to watch how soil is being turned into metal after several production stages.
похожим на металл, это всегда интересно.
So the first zinc was produced at the complex in 1947, but soon it became necessary to increase the production capacity. The need to open new facilities was also caused by properties and content of metals in ores of this region. In order to get the main product, which is zinc, for example, it is necessary to purify industrial products and components or to free metal from bypassing elements that are also valuable. That is why, for more effectiveness, it is needed to refine all elements extracted from ores to receive the final product.
И эта задача как бы изначально после образования.
And this was the task set after construction of the lead and zinc plant. And still it is.
И в соответствии с этим начал
According to this task, the construction of lead plant was launched in 1952.
году. И эти два завода просуществовали
And these two plants existed till 1992,
1992
when the refining facility was built to produce precious metals.
построен цех по производству драгоценных металлов, а финальное производство, когда мы начали уже получать
We started to produce marketable gold and silver,
и вся эта эпопея
and this epic story finished in 2011, when copper plant was built.
закончилась.
The ceremony of lead plant opening took place on 25th of June 1952. The plant became the important part of the complex, and it was no coincidence that the word lead goes first in the name of lead and zinc complex. Since then, the plant has underwent numerous reconstruction processes. Experts say that lead production can be called unique for its technology. In the 1960s, we started to use the sintering unit. All of the metals, bypassing raw zinc ores, were extracted into zinc industrial products that were then processed at the lead plant. Thus, we have a good conglomerate. Later, we built a conversion facility to produce blister copper. It means that lead plant was not designed only for lead anymore. Different types of metal could be produced there. I would say this is a unique production site, as at that time, it was the only one of its kind in the world. This complex is also unique because of the minerals of this region. As a rule, all lead plants had been always operated to produce one product, which is lead. However, taking the unique ore basis of this land, the scientists had to learn how to work with compound materials, which gave an impulse to the development of new facilities. Lead, the Latin plumbum, as it goes in the Mendeleev's periodic table. People have known this metal from the ancient times. Archaeological findings give us evidence that lead had been used by people since the 7th millennium BC. In ancient Egypt and later in ancient Rome, they mined and processed lead. This metal is soft and malleable. That is why, before smelting furnaces were invented, this metal had been used to produce metal items. For example, the Romans made lead pipes for water pipeline network. In the Middle Ages, lead was used for roofing, as well as production of printing press. For a long time, people did not know about damage this element can cause. They put it into wine and used it for construction purposes. Even in the 20th century, lead was added to the printing inks and gasoline additives. Considering lead properties, it is used in healthcare and other industries where protection from radiation is needed. Lead is highly resistant to corrosion, and this very property is actively used in electrical engineering industry. The military use lead to produce bullets and ammunition. This metal is also widely used to produce coloring and construction compounds, fillings, cement, as well as protective covering for glass and ceramics. Over 1,000 specialists work in 4 units of the lead plant at the metallurgy complex. The first unit is aimed at processing lead mixtures. Its core task is to obtain raw ores. The unit receives up to 50,000 tons of them. Here the raw ores are transferred to the primary furnaces. Then a highly technological process takes place, and the most advanced system is used for that. In 2011, the construction of a unique technology ISOSmelt was coming to its end. The system is right behind my back. This technology replaced the old sintering technique. The disadvantage of the latter was its negative impact on the environment. 50% of gases cannot be disposed at the sulfuric production units. In order to minimize emissions, in 2012, we launched the new system, which enables us to fully dispose of gases of the lead production process. Since then, the lead plant entered the list of green ones. The unit consists of a stationary furnace with fire-resistant protective inner covering and immersion lens, which is used to blow gas into the furnace. The advantage of this process is an opportunity to combine several technological operations in one unit to dispose of volatile impurities, to be flexible in processing raw ores, and to reach high capacity. The modern equipment and full automation of the technological process, starting from charge preparation and ending with smelting considerably decreases the proportion of hand labor. Then the lead-containing slag goes to the refining unit. During the refining process, we get rid of over 10 types of admixtures that are transformed into marketable types of metal. We produce copper for zinc plant and antimony for our colleagues in Taldykurgan, who produce car batteries. In general, the list of products manufactured at the lead plant cannot be put on one A4 page. Our plant is unique as it provides a wide range of services. We enable zinc plant to transfer impurities into marketable types of products, including zinc sulfate for refining facilities. We enable copper plant to get rid of arsenic admixtures and produce mixtures that are safe for environment. And of course, lead is the key product obtained at the plant. Since the launching of the lead and zinc complex, the latter has achieved great success. Today the complex produces pure lead of the highest quality. It is used in the production of high-accuracy equipment. The plant exports its products to CIS, Japan, US, and other far abroad countries. Today the production volume is over 140,000 tons per year. Copper plant is the youngest metallurgical facility of the Ust-Kamenogorsk complex. It was built in 2011. And the same year, the first batch of copper cathodes was delivered. The most advanced technologies of producing this interesting and valuable metal are applied at this plant. Copper is a ductile metal of rose gold color. In nature, its pure form occurs more often than that of gold and silver. But mainly, copper is extracted as copper sulfides. The modern scientists know over 200 minerals that contain copper. Humanity has used copper since the ancient times. The history of this acquaintance includes the whole era of humanity development. It was the Bronze Age that placed copper among those discoveries which brought Homo sapiens to civilization. Accidentally, humans discovered bronze by mixing copper and tin, and later bronze even marked an important era in the development of the ancient society. Different alloys, rather than native copper, are widely used in industry. They're brass, copper and zinc, bronze, copper and tin, nickel, silver, duralumin, copper and aluminum, and jewelry alloy, copper and gold. However, electrical engineering industry cannot operate without copper. The same relates to engineering, shipbuilding, construction, and even art.
К нам поступает большое количество медного сырья.
We receive a huge amount of raw copper ore. There are different types of ore. We have a special warehouse located in the unit of charge preparation.
Концентраты поступают в вагонах, либо навалом, либо в...
The concentrates are brought in wagons, bags or special containers.
Все эти вагоны выгружаются, и там же в цехе подготовки шихты...
All of these wagons are unloaded, and charge or so-called mixture of concentrates is made in the unit to be then sent to the iso-smelting.
В результате айзоплавки, вообще эта технология достаточно уникальная и...
This technology is unique. An iso furnace, where everything goes on, is 11 meters high, and its inner diameter is 3.5 meters.
Мы используем погружную форму.
We use an immersion lens to supply fuel and oxygen needed for the operation of technological process. As a result of smelting process, which takes place in this high-technology furnace, a specific mixture is obtained and then placed to the electrical furnace, which is used as a sort of settler. Here, copper mass is separated into matte containing near 60% metal and slag, where the content of copper is low, near 1%. But still, the slag is considered a raw ore and sent to the conversion.
У нас два конвертера.
We have two converters. One is permanently operated, and the second is our reserve.
В результате операции конвертирования мы
In the result of the conversion process, we obtain blister copper, containing 98% of copper.
Но в любом случае эта медь еще загрязнена вредными примесями.
Anyway, this copper still has some bad additives that can negatively affect the next stage, which is electrolysis. That is why we have another process called anode refining.
Эта операция служит для более глубокого.
During this stage, copper is freed from different admixtures, such as lead, arsenic, or antimony.
Вот в результате анодного рафинирования
Thus, anode refining allows us to obtain anode copper for electrolysis.
на электролиз.
Anode copper is brought to the electrolysis unit. It is important to say that here the temperature is constantly near 40 degrees. This is one of the main conditions of the technology. Before anode is placed into the electrolysis tank, it should be thoroughly checked to prevent any roughness. Then special crane is used to put 300 kilogram blocks into the tank. During the next stage, the specialists wait for so-called harvest time, when cathode copper can be gathered.
Процесс у нас так называемый двухурожайный. В целом цикл длится 14.
Actually, we harvest 2 times. The cycle lasts for 14 days, with 7 days per harvest.
меди.
During this time, we take out cathode copper twice. It means that from a single anode, we obtain cathode copper 2 times.
Эти процессы электролиза остаток анодной меди
The remaining of anode copper, or so-called anode scrap, is then processed in furnaces of our plant.
мощности нашего завода.
Over 370 people work on this large and modern plant. The head count is not that big, as high technologies and high accuracy equipment are used here. Today, its capacity reaches up to 70,000 tons of refined cathode copper per year. It is known that metallurgical production has always been harmful for the environment. The processes going inside the units, furnaces, and other devices cause emission of many harmful elements, including toxic substances, gas, and dust.
В этом плане, если говорить полностью о производственных отходах, как я уже сказала, мы
In this regard, if talking about production wastes, as I said, we divide them into gases emitted into the atmosphere, liquids or waste waters, and solid wastes.
что у нас образуется. Что касается утилизации выбросов, у нас основные усилия, конечно,
As for waste utilization, we take measures to dispose of harmful gases emitted during metallurgical processes.
процессов. Вот как, например, здесь в Усть-Каменогорске или в Ридере.
Let's take Ust-Kamenogorsk or Ritter, for example.
У нас в
Here we have powerful cleaning facility.
целый цех
Here at the Ust-Kamenogorsk Metallurgical Complex, we have a dust-catching facility with a gas cleaning capacity of 3.5 million square meters per hour.
То есть это мощный
It means we have a separate facility with a technological capacity to perform gas cleaning. At the same time, filtered dust is not considered a production waste. It is called man-caused raw material. By using technologies, specialists can separate metals from this dust. Today, the Ust-Kamenogorsk Metallurgical Complex has started to use technologies to extract metals from waste stored at the old tailing storage facilities. "70 years ago, the first zinc was smelted in the furnaces of the lead and zinc plant. For a human being, this is a full life cycle. And for a big complex that increases its production capacities and uses more and more advanced technologies every year, this is only another stage of development. And the life cycle of the metallurgical giant will continue, as it is fed by treasures of ancient and rich land of East Kazakhstan itself."